What's up, everybody? It is a Blue Drake, and welcome to the coolest game that you've never heard of. Welcome to Starship EVO. This game actually used to be called Sky Wanderers, and I've been following it for a long time, back before the name was changed, because I know the developer somewhat well. In fact, I remember him way back in the day when he had to Dropbox me a copy of the game so I could play the alpha, and I was impressed with it then, and quite frankly, I'm even more impressed with it now. Now, this is a game that's probably similar to a lot of other games that you've played if you're familiar with this genre, like Space Engineers or the many kind of like clones of Space Engineers, but in my opinion, nobody's ever really done it right. And I think that Starship EVO, or well, Sky Wanderers as I originally knew it, has the opportunity to get this right. First off, the game is huge and it is beautiful. So, of course, you have this massive halo ring, and you can go anywhere on this ring. You can also fly to all of these planets in the solar system. You can fly to the ring of this Saturn-like gas giant, and you can travel to all of the different space stations and everything else that you would expect that you would be able to do in a game just like this one. All right, here, let's go ahead and engage light cruise. Here we go. Boom. This is so cool. Now, there's a lot of games out there that I think are similar to this and are definitely really, really cool, but they haven't gotten the gameplay really locked down in the way that I would want it to be. Sometimes the games are too complex, sometimes the games aren't complex enough, but for instance, even with games like Space Engineers, I start playing and I don't really have fun. It's not easy to just get into and start doing quests and start playing the game and docking. Like, there's a lot of mistakes that you can make, and you do one thing wrong, and then, all of a sudden your ship's been torn in half, and, there's some, like, oxygen, like, tube that got ripped out of the aft section of your ship, and you have to spend the next 8 hours, crafting a new one. Ooh. Now, that is not like that. That is not like this game. This game is really cool in the fact that it is an open-ended style game where you can kind of like travel everywhere that you want, and you can board all of these different stations, and you can interact with the world, but it's not so complex as you saw, like when you try to land on a landing pad that your ship glitches through the entire thing and blows it up. And that's why I think this game has a lot of potential. This is kind of like the same level of complexity where you can actually build all of these ships piece by piece. I mean, this is a block-based building game, and you can get creative with all of the different things that you create, but it is not so punishing or so complex that it takes a significant amount of time in order to get started in the game, or taking a significant amount of time in order to enjoy the game or to participate in all of the different missions and things like that. You can just get in your ship, take off, and you can go off and you can fight, you can dogfight, you can explore, and you can really have fun. And that's really what I think a game like this has been missing. And as you can see, like, these planets are absolutely gigantic. You can see the ring that we actually just came from down here, and that is the original ring that we came from. So you could see how massive that ring was, and then kind of like in comparison how big these planets are to these rings. Like, look at this massive planet, look at these massive rings, and then look at this tiny little halo ring that you thought was so huge at first, and then you realize that it's actually not huge at all. All right, let's see here. Let's head here. Light cruise. I mean, I still have to engage light cruise just to get to these different parts. See, look at how simple and clean this is. But still super playable, super accessible, and it also has quite a bit of depth. All right, let's turn off our ship. Turn off ship. Get out of our seat. And as you can see, all of the different switches are actually interactable. Oh, I just got myself stuck. So you can not only build these ships, but you can interact with all of the different little pieces of them. All of them have really, I mean, there's a display systems that you can custom program. There's interiors that you can use in order to sleep and eat. And I mean, it's really cool. Like this is really cool stuff here. Like for instance, you can, I mean, there's no system link to it, but there's, for instance, like a control panel that you could connect to a system if you really wanted to. So it is a building game. Here, let's open this up. Whoa. And it is absolutely beautiful. Look at this. This is beautiful. That's so cool. It's so cool. All right, let's go over here. Now, as of right now, this game is actually based on dedicated servers, and this is another reason why I'm kind of excited about this game. You've got a lot of other games out there, like let's take Starbase, for instance. Starbase is a game that kind of came out that's very similar to this, but there's a lot of grind with Starbase, and Starbase is also an MMO. It's a massively multiplayer online game, which means you don't really have control over your own server, you don't really have control over your own experience, you kind of participate in a large open world, and whatever happens is going to require a lot of effort, as opposed to something like this, where you could potentially host your own server, similar like Space Engineers, and you can have your own little communities that can play these games where you can do quests, you can engage in single player or cooperative modes, fighting AI ships, in fact, there's actually a bunch of ships that are already flying around the the stars, those stations that you can fight with, that you can dock with, eventually that you can trade with, and all sorts of other things. Here's all of this is kind of like an example of all of the different things that you can build and all the things that you can interact with and how they work. Your ship won't feel right without somewhere to sit. So you can build all of these things. I'm actually not really good at building yet, and I haven't really tried. I'm the kind of person that likes to play what other people build in these games. I don't usually build myself, although I do love repairing. One of my favorite things to do is to take out a ship, and then you kind of slowly learn it, and you can slowly kind of like have a crew that maintains it. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like Star Trek. Ooh, build a weapon. Let's see here. So here's weapon blueprints, and you can craft weapons. You can build tools. You can build there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of depth in this. So if you want to check this out, it's called Starship EVO. It is on Steam. He's actually made it available to buy right now, even though it is in a pretty early state, which is kind of a shame because I really wish this was the kind of game that had like a big unveil, and the kind of like, I feel like Starbase really nailed that when they kind of came out and they had a lot of hype. But this is the kind of game, I mean, it's made by a very, very small team. And unfortunately, I think they can't afford to have like a big unveiling. But it really deserves the attention. It's so cool. I mean, look at this. This is so cool. The ships are interactive, and all of these ships are buildable. And it's really stable. I mean, as you saw, I was kind of like flying around and running into the ground and all sorts of stuff, and my ship's not glitching out and exploding, which again, I know that there's some people that are kind of like into that gameplay style. Look at this. You can interact with the ship here. Woo! There's the landing gear. I know that some people are kind of interested in the super hardcore, like you make one mistake and your entire ship gets torn in half kind of thing. But I think that can sometimes get in the way of gameplay. All right, let's bring our landing gear up. Look at this. This is so cool. This is so cool. I think that this is going to end up being a real special game. I really do. In fact, let's actually go ahead and engage light cruise. Bam, and we're going to go check out this planet over here. Look at how awesome this is. In fact, here, if we want to, we can even go and check out these rings. And you can see kind of like how the rings will generate as we get closer. Look at this. Watch this. This is going to blow your tiny little brain. I mean, not really. I mean, I guess there's a lot of games that do this by now, but I mean, it runs really well, too. That's the other thing. Look at this. You can mine all of those. So every single one of those little dots is an asteroid that you can mine. I know Elite Dangerous did it, but hey, Elite Dangerous is an MMO. You know, you can't host a server of that. You know, you can't buy that and kind of have a single-player experience. I've never actually tried to land on this planet. I don't believe it is possible. I think I would probably die if I tried to do this, but we're gonna experiment. We're gonna experiment live. Probably not the best thing to do. We'll get close at least. I am absolutely confident that I can't actually land on this thing. I'm not even sure if I... Whoa! Oh! Okay! Oh! Oh! Oh, yep, I'm dead. I'm actually not entirely sure what happens when you die. Let's see, we've lost our... The ship has been damaged beyond repair. Please. No. Nope, you're not gonna let me out. No! I don't want to fall into the gas giant and die. Oh, there we go. It opened up. Ah! So, this game is really cool. It is alpha. It is not finished by any means. But this is probably one of the strongest starting points for a game like this that I've ever seen. Oop, there we go. All right. I think that this, if it is handled correctly, could be really fun. This is the kind of game where you can build your own ship completely from scratch. It's got a really awesome Steam Workshop. And then if they can add in quests and AI that you can fight with, I mean, hell, I would play this if it was just a completely single-player game. I think that would be enough for me to get excited. But who knows if they'll add even more cool things that are amazing. So we'll just have to see. So Starship EVO, go check it out. It's really awesome. If you enjoy these videos, press that like button. And subscribe. Besides that, I'll see you in the next one. Alright, it's been Blue Drake. And remember, as always, I love you.